Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome into GarageBand Weekly for another week. My name is Pete Johnson. For the next hour or so, we'll be talking about GarageBand, Apple, Logic Pro, all of that kind of jazz. But I've kind of hijacked this show. You might have seen I was going to be looking at the new macOS Sequoia, but I haven't got around to actually updating my old Mac Mini with that one. And there's a little something called Songtember that's kind of taken priority at the moment. So I thought the time would be better spent working on my Songtember song and getting us a bit of a rough mix so I can go out and I can start doing the car listen and the walk listen and the Bluetooth speaker listen and all that kind of jazz that we tend to do at this time of year because guess what? It's the 24th of September here in Australia, and it's the 23rd for many of you. So we are at three quarters Songtember. Can you believe? Can you believe that we have gone this far in? It felt like just yesterday that I was going, "Hey, welcome to Songtember," and now here we are. So we'll dive in to the news and notes. We do have a little news and notes section for you here today. I will be able to answer any of your questions that you have as we go through. So if you've got questions, just chuck them here in the chat and put a big Q in front of them. That helps me identify that they are a question, and I will attempt to answer anything that you may have, whether it's GarageBand or Logic or Apple or iPhone or iPad or anything related. News and notes. Guess what? Apple launched everything new. They launched the iPhone 16 with the fancy new camera slider. Yeah, I've got one here. I'm about to put all my data on there. I've got to do the big process of like, hey, make this be this, which takes a lot longer than it usually should. So I'll be testing that out during the week, so you can tune in to find out my thoughts. Yeah, short version. Let's give you the short version of it, which is if you're in the market for a new iPhone and you have a 14 or 15, I don't think you need to update. If I'm going to be very honest, I don't think you need to update to the 16 right now. The camera's slightly better, and that new camera button, the jury's out on it. Some people seem to love having a dedicated camera button. Some people are like whatevs. But yeah, I don't think someone in the comments yesterday said my 12 Pro is still rocking hard. And I think that's the case. I really do think that once we hit the 12, in terms of apart from things like, the dynamic island and this new camera button, nothing much has changed in terms of the actual functionality of an iPhone. And especially if, this is a GarageBand Weekly, but if you're a GarageBand user, my iPhone 12 Pro, hey, the iPhone SE2 that I have in my pocket here, this is a beast for GarageBand. Like, this crushes everything I need to do in GarageBand. So, yeah, unless you are into like full 4K, high res video and photo stuff, I don't think you really need a new phone. The other new gear that's come out is the new Apple Watch. I've got one of those I'll be taking a look at. Look, for a music creator, is there much? I mean, I use the voice memo occasionally to capture voice memos, and it keeps me on time for my appointments so that I can get back to the studio and create more music, and that's about it. But I suppose it does help me get out and do things outside of the studio, because if I didn't have my rings, I might not get off my lazy butt and actually leave this studio for more than like 10 minutes at a time. And the new AirPods. So I've got the new AirPods 4, which have been released. Those are the ones with the active noise cancelling, but in an open ear. So they don't have the silicon tips, but they're the open design, and they've somehow got active noise cancelling. I'll be testing those out for you this week and seeing if they're any good. So that is the new gear update. We'll talk software in a moment, but we'll just jump in here and say g'day to the fine folks. Folks like Adam Gehring. Thank you for being here, Adam. I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for the kind donation. Always a good thing. In fact, Adam, we don't do this. I'm going to adjust that comment, don't I? Every time I do these shows at the moment, I don't have my software quite set up yet to be working perfectly every time. So there's usually a little bit of this sort of action here. You get a bit behind the scenes here at the moment. The problem is that Songtember came around so fast and has been so full on that I haven't had time to really fully do this stuff here. I'll add Adam to the Songtember legend. I think he's probably already there because he's a wonderful creator and wonderful donator. That rhymes. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Thomas Christ, for being here. G'day to Tremor Bear. Hello to Joe Star. Just change your name. Jade Star, Mr. Mark. Bro, Ian Luckett's here. G'day to you. Hope you are going tickety boo. That rhymes too. Ed V Metal. G'day to you. Hope you're doing well. Arena here. How's your Songtembers going, everybody? I'll be talking about mine and showing you where I'm at in just a moment, but would love to know how you're going. Mr. Fomiati. G'day to Skeeter Melody as well. Good to have you back in the chat, doing your thing. Right, let's talk about software, because there's been some things and some stuff. Now, if you are a viewer of mine, and if you listen to me, which my children don't, but hopefully you do, you would be aware that I say things like this all the time. I put out a video 7 days ago on the launch of iOS 18, and there I am holding up my phone saying, for the love of your deity of choice, please do not update. And since then, I've had a bunch of people update. And here's the weird thing. I put out another video because the iPad with M4, something interesting happened. Did you see the news on this one? Yeah, you can't update your M4 iPad. I know, little violins out for the people with the latest and greatest iPads, but everyone has got their knickers in a significant twist. For whatever reason, this video's had like 10 times more views than a video that I normally do. And I'm in there reading the comments, and everyone's pissed off. Everyone's like, Apple won't let us update. I wanted to update immediately. And I'm like, do you understand that, A, you should never update in the first week anyway? Because what happened here, I'll probably bury the lead. What happened here is some people that had an iPhone with M4, they updated it, and it did that weird sort of cycling thing. If you've had an update that hasn't worked before, you know what I mean. And it bricked it. No good. Had to go to the Apple store. Most of them had to get completely flushed. I don't think they could even repair them themselves. So a lot of people on Reddit were saying, yeah, this happened to me. Gets back to Apple, and Apple say, right, well, we'll pull the update of iPadOS 18 for those models. And they did. But they didn't really, like, if you are a user, nothing said that. So it just said update to iPadOS 17.7. So I was getting people coming to me. That's why I made the video. I was getting people coming to me saying, what's wrong? Apple have ruined my thing. I can't update. And I said, hang a minute. Don't update. Because there's been these reports that a very small percentage, and this is the problem, and this is why we say again and again and again, and I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, don't update on day one. These are called like 0 day and first day problems for a reason, because they happen on the first day. And if it happens to you and you're the guinea pig, why not let other people be the guinea pig? There is nothing in this update that is game-changing. There is nothing in iOS 18 or iPadOS 18 that is going to blow your skirt up in a big bad way. So why take the risk? Why not just give it a couple of weeks and just chill? But the amount of people that are just absolutely furious at Apple, and I'm like, it happens. Like, no matter how much beta or beta testing, I got pulled up on that, by the way. Someone said, it's not beta testing, it's beta testing. And I'm like, yeah, in UK English it's beta, in US English it's beta, and in Australian English, I don't know. I usually just go with the US version because most of my audience are US. So people are getting their knickers in an absolute twist over the fact that they couldn't update and that Apple had pulled the update. And I'm like, would you rather a 1% chance of bricking your iPad, or would you rather wait 2 weeks until they iron out the bug and then let you do it? And then you know that yours is going to be good. The M4 users are going to have the best experience because they'll know that it's been gone over with a fine-tooth comb. But I don't understand people sometimes. It's like when I talk to people and I say to them, they're like, oh man, I can't sit down in the studio and get like, a couple of hours of work done because I keep getting notifications. And I'm like, just silence your notifications. Go into Do Not Disturb. And they're like, but I can't do that. What if I miss something important? I'm like, you won't. Not that much in the world that's that important. If it's important enough and someone rings you, if they're on your call list, they'll call you twice and then it'll come through. But yeah, the amount of people that they're like, oh, it's like the Ned Flanders thing. Oh, I've tried nothing and I'm all out of ideas. It's sort of the reverse of that. They're like, I want things to be better. And you're like, here's a very quick and simple and easy way to make things better. Turn off your notifications and don't update your friggin' iOS. And they're like, but I don't want to do that. And it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I can only give you the best advice that is going to work for you. If you want to ignore and avoid that, more power to you, I guess. But please don't come crying to me when everything goes wrong. All right. Pete's on his high horse. And that's the thing. They're only going to be disappointed when they get in there and realize that none of the Apple Intelligence stuff that they're looking for is even in there at all. So, yeah, there's that. Speaking of which, I'm going to throw my, I'm going to remind, I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to put my iPad into Do Not Disturb because in about 2 minutes, we're going to be jumping in and doing some of that. Beta or tweeter beta. Yeah, it's beta. Seriously, the amount of people that get really riled up. I'm going to start deliberately putting incorrect pronunciations into things and just triggering people because it gets me lots of comments. It also gets me lots of dislikes, but there you go. There you go. And look, Andy says updated first day. And if you did, that's fine. But all I am saying is please do not come crying to me or Jade or anyone else in this community if you update on day one, despite us telling you not to, and you have a problem with an app, you have a problem with bricking your iPhone or bricking your iPad. Let other people have those problems and you just sit back and chill. Or don't. That's it. People always want shiny and new. Spot on, Thomas. They want shiny and new. I know, buried the lead. Buried the lead. There you go. 100% don't update your iPad if you use Swarm Instruments, and a bunch of others are totally effed. So, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. There you go. Did a song a week for Songtember. Trevor Bear. Absolutely crushing it. Good stuff indeed. Look at this. We've got Ian Luckett and Adam meeting each other. I was talking yesterday on Your Music Live about how much I love the community and the fact that you guys, like, not everyone knows everyone, but, like, everyone kind of starts communicating with each other, and it's just super nice. Exactly. Dislikes are indeed an interaction. GarageBand and GarageBand, yes. GarageBand. Exactly. This is GarageBand Weekly. And GarageBand Weekly. When I was using StreamYard, I haven't quite got the theme music over to here yet, but when we had Kronk's song doing the theme song, it's GarageBand. And whenever I get together with Patrick, yeah, the comments are full of people going, you guys both talk funny and you say it differently. Hello, Indian One. Thank you for coming along. Welcome to the community. Once again, if anyone has any questions, please do let me know. We are going off GarageBand, but it's still GarageBand related because we're going to now dive in and take a look at my song. I've done a little bit behind the scenes, not a heap, so you haven't missed out on a lot. Oh, that's a weird view there. Let's extend that out. We've got more real estate to use there, don't we? We can embiggen my iPad screen on there. That's getting closer. That'll do. All right. So we are going to be diving in here and showing you what's happened with this song over the last 4 days since we last met and since I recorded. We had a big recording session on Saturday morning. It's now Tuesday morning, so 3 days ago. And in that session, I did a bunch of vocals. So you can see here I've got vocal recordings. I did 3 takes of my lead vocals. We did some backing vocal stuff here, and we did some na-na-nas and blah-blah-blahs and all sorts of things. So we're at the point now where today what I wanted to do is get us a bit of a rough mix down. Now, the things I've done off, you might see that the levels on these are all much, much, much lower. So I've turned everything down because we were at +8 dB on our master bus, which is not a good place to be. And most of it was, here's the trick. Most of it was caused by the fact that here in Logic Pro, it very nicely and very kindly tried to help me, but it loads up every track. By default, when you just use a preset or a default, it loads up every track with plugins, and especially it loves the new Chroma Glow. And what I noticed is that all the bass tracks, basically everything had Chroma Glow on it. There's something weird happening with that thing. I'm going to go... It's got the green screen behind the iPad there. That's super weird. Again, I'm using it's because it's green. We might just have to live with it, but that means that everything green is going to be see-through here today. Does it affect us out here? It's going to look really bad with the drums, isn't it? Yeah, the drums are see-through. Oh, we're gonna go with it today. I'm sorry, folks. My knowledge of this of Ecamm is pretty low, and if I don't put the green screen on, oh, there we go. If I turn the green screen off, is that better? Yeah, there we go. We're back. Never mind that. I put the green screen behind the iPad camera. Where were we before I was interrupted? Yeah, so Logic Pro, it holds your hand and it wants things to sound good. But the problem is, as soon as you get past about 8 or 10 tracks, it turns everything up so loud, it front loads everything with plugins so much that it doesn't sound good anymore. It sounds overblown, over distorted, over compressed, and overdone. So I've kind of turned everything down, and now I think it sounds better. So I'm going to give you a bit of a listen to the parts just so that we can re-familiarize ourselves with this particular track, and then we'll dive into it. Thank you. Best to me. Thank you very much. I said I've got to change this again. I keep moving screens, and now I have to change and put my comments back. I promise that after Songtember, all this will get set up properly again. I'll just move that there. Thank you very much. Yes, Georgie's doing very well, and thank you for the kind words. What are good free plugins for Logic Pro? The stock ones, to be very honest. I mean, Jade Star, go over to Jade's channel. She covers a lot of the other, mostly paid plugins, but some free plugins for Logic Pro. Anything AUV3 will work for you, but I'm very simple. I'm a very simple guy with very simple needs, and I don't use much outside of the stock plugin. I think they're pretty good. What's the song about? You've been taking online class exams. All right, let's tell you. Let's give you the backstory for those that are just joining us. We're at episode 10 here, but if you want us to back up a little bit, I first captured this song idea in voice memos. I brought those voice memos over into GarageBand. In fact, I don't know why I'm just telling you. Why don't I show you? So I brought the track over here into GarageBand, and if we go into the archive here, this is the cool thing. We should be able to go back and check out. So this was the latest GarageBand version. There's a lot to learn of version 4. And this is what we had together back then. So we kind of created it in GarageBand. Like the original ideas are stored up here. So this is the sort of thing we were playing with. Just fine, you always tell me that I'm too stressed. You always tell me that I'm being stupid all the time. But I don't know. So that was sort of the ideas that we had. So this is where... This is more what we got. So we captured the idea there. We then turned it into a GarageBand song. So I very roughly recorded it here in GarageBand, and it ended up sounding like this. 2, 3, 4! And yeah, we recorded some vocals in here. Don't need to speed out on the highway. And it was good. We got some ideas down, and then it got too big for GarageBand. So we wanted to get over to Logic Pro to start doing some more stuff. So we did. We came over here into Logic Pro, and we layered up some more guitars and some more vocals and some more drums, except I didn't play the drums, because guess who did that? That would be Jade Star. So Jade laid down these drums, which are very, very cool. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, well, this is ticking along okay. And then, before I could go back and re-record the bass, our mate Mars Capone reaches out and says, Pete, I want to play bass on this track. And just to give you an idea, here's Jade's drums that just sound really cool. And because it's Jade, she had to go in with a bit of double kick, which I didn't love at first. Not here, but down here where we get to. Where's the chorus? Down here. No, that's not the double kick. Is it here? Yeah. It's like, yeah, would you put this? Would I have chosen to do that? No, but that's the joy of collaboration. Then we had Mars and his epic bass that was added in here. Just listen to how cool Mars's bass sounds. Apparently it sounds like nothing at all. Why has that gone completely away? Has this changed its output? No. What have I done wrong? I must have... Why is it just giving... Logic Pro does this sometimes. It has some very weird, just random things where... Like, that's not soloed anymore, but it thinks it is. Unless I've got an individual track soloed, which I don't. Has anyone come across these sort of things where it just like does this? Let's close out and come back in and see. See, this happens to everyone. I deliberately make these mistakes, you see, so that when they happen to you, and then you realize you've just got some weird thing soloed somewhere, the silence bug. Yeah, I thought it was the silence bug. Let's see if there it is. See, it's back. So yes, it just silences everything. Everything is silent. There you go. Hopefully, it just means we get Logic Pro 2.1 sooner rather than later. So let's come in. So this is Mars's base. And the best part, I just love what he does during this third verse. Listen to this, where he comes back in here. Like, just this is someone that knows how to play the bass. Some beautiful like octaves going into fifths there. Yeah, so it's just it just works so well for the track. So that's where we're at the moment. And what I want to do today is mostly clean up. So I'm on cleanup duty here, which means anywhere that there's audio that doesn't need to be audio, we're going to trim. And I see that Barry's got a question here about how we can trim non-destructive from the back. Now, Logic's a bit weird in that sometimes if you do multiple takes, so if you've got overlapping audio, it won't let you trim because it's got two takes in there. And what you generally need to do, if it won't let you do that, the quickest way is just to split and then delete that out. It'll still keep it, so you can still stretch it back out again. And we'll probably show that. It's easy to show as we go through. It's going to take a little time, but we'll go through one by one. Would you like to take a listen to the whole song first? I'll let you listen to it that way. And again, it's going to be coming through YouTube compression, so it's not going to sound perfect, but it's only a quick song. It's about 3 minutes, and we'll take a listen to the full song as it is at the moment, and then I'll talk you through what we need to do here. And if you've got ideas of, hey, you need more reverb on that, more delay on that, less whatever, then you can let me know as we go through. But for today, it's going to be mostly trimming and editing bits out, and maybe doing a little bit of basic mixing so that by the end of this, in the next 35 minutes, we're going to have a nice static mix, and then we can start doing things like automation and tweaking things like reverb, compression, delay, and the like, which we'll be doing in the next couple of days. So let us take a listen. This is, oh, by the way, it's now just called Learn. So let's take a listen together, shall we? Just going to stop there. So that's your first verse and your first chorus of the song. It gives you a pretty good idea of what we're doing here, and you'll hear it plenty as we go through and do this mixing process. You'll also notice that instead of before where over here it was peaking around about, 8, it's now, look, it's not perfect. It's not as much headroom as I'd like to have, but it's minus 6.8 now, which is a lot better. So we'll go with it for now and see how we go. What does the snowflake mean? Good question. The snowflake is freezing. So when Mars was doing the bass, because this had a lot of tracks on there and Mars was using a slightly older iPad, he actually froze some of these tracks. So what that means is you can't make any changes to them, and it also means that it's not processing them. So what it does, it kind of bounces them in place so that it's just playing it back as a WAV file. And then if you want to like tweaks any of the settings or change any of the plugins, or you want to actually change the audio, you can actually do that. So that's it. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's coming through quiet. So I might even, I'll for the sake of this, I'll turn up the output just so that you can hear it a little bit better because it's coming through at the natural volume. In fact, I could probably even turn a limiter on. 'Cause I had the limiter off there. I could put the limiter on the master channel, and that will probably bring it back up. Let me just see this. Might just turn the volume up on the stereo bus because, yeah, otherwise you're going to hear it quite quietly here. Is that the automation? The automation is different. The automation is this one here that we'll be playing around with. So we can automate by moving these up and down. In fact, I'll just put my mixer up so you can hear these better. So we will be doing some automation, but that's your automation setting here in Logic Pro for iPad. And you can automate not only volume, but you can also automate other things like your effects and your panning. So you could do a cool auto pan left and right if we want to do that here today. So let's get stuck in and start working on what we need to actually change here. So the first thing I do with this sort of thing is a bit of a tops and tails. So anything that doesn't need to have stuff there, we can remove. So for instance, here on these Mars bass, we can actually, I'll see this is going to do the thing where it won't let us trim it in. So this might be the example that you're looking for, Barry, because what I'm doing is when I tap on here, it won't bring it in there because it's treating it as a comped session. So what I generally do, and hey, there's probably better ways to do this. Can I be really honest? Can we have a quick, honest conversation? I'm still not that great with Logic Pro. It took me 7 years to get like super confident with GarageBand, and I'm very much not super confident with Logic Pro. So the way I do things is probably not the best way to do them. There's probably a better way to do everything that I'm going to do here. So one of my resolutions for the rest of the year is to actually learn this this software package a little better. So yeah, so you can see there that I was able to do that. So I was able to use the split to get it back over there. So Barry, you'll probably just have to use split. Whereas, and it's going to be the same for everything else, I reckon. All right, so these ones are muted, so these ones won't matter. So I'm just going to mute those out so we don't get confused. That was another bass take that Miles did because he's so cool. Let's look at these guitars. See, here's the difference. Because these are only a single with no overlapping audio, it didn't create any sort of comp. So with these ones, all we need to do is trim by grabbing it and pulling it across. So we can just bring that across and put it not right on, obviously, because you want a little bit of gap before it actually starts. Otherwise, you're going to, it's not going to sound the way you want it to. So if we listen to this, that'll be fine. So just giving it that little bit of breathing room in there is all good. I definitely don't need any of this business. What is this me saying over here in this vocal double? Is that another 1, 2, 3, 4? 2, 3, 4! It is. And we don't need that because we've got that on a separate track now. So we're going to remove that because we have this 2, 3, 4 here. So we'll leave this, and this is more of a distant. 2, 3, 4. And that one actually needs a little bit of extra room. So we'll just make sure we have. 2, 3, 4. Just turn the output up a bit so that you can hear it a little better here. Because the problem is, yeah, if you're mixing it at about the right volume, it's not going to get up around 0 dB where you'd want to hear it here as I'm showing it. So let's continue playing with these. So guitars are good at the front there. Bass is good. Drums are virtual, so we don't have to worry about those. If you're wondering about this bass up here that's still there, this is just my song sections. So this is in lieu of song sections that we have here. This vocal we don't need anymore. Let's delete it. It is no longer required. That was when we were writing the lyrics way back in the day. So that's not needed. We'll leave this little drum intro in there in case we need to do any more recording up the front. So now it's a matter of going through each section and finding out where we don't need the sound. So anywhere you see like a gap like this, because here's the thing, like let's just play these guitars. Here's the reason you'd want to do this. So you probably even want that to go a little longer because you can hear that there's that little clip at the end there. Let's see, is that on this one or this one? So you can kind of hear it sound off there. We're going to use some automation to actually bring that down. But the thing is, if you just mix with your eyes, this is why we say it's so important to mix with your ears, not your eyes. Because if I mixed with my eyes and I'm like, all right, so that one ends there, that one ends there, but then listen to how crap this sounds. Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my... Because it just goes off. We want that little bit of a sustained note to go through there, but we want to bring the volume down. So that's where we'll need to use some automation, which we'll do either later today or at another time. Let's just get where these guitars come back in here and make sure. Now, where we've got a break like this is the important parts, because when you're editing, when you're doing multi-takes and you're bringing things together, this is where you need to pay attention, because this is where it can sound really crappy. Let's take a listen. That's actually a pretty nice transition. Let's hear it again. Yep, that's going to be fine. Let's come down to here. What was I doing in this part? And there, like some people, don't move that. Some people would get pedantic, and I can be pedantic at times, and they'd come in here and they'd remove the silence in there. But I kind of like having that little bit of sort of room, like the real sound. I got a lot to learn. So I'm going to leave it in there for now. Here's our solo. We can just bring this up to here. And it's only at this point in the mixing process. You might have noticed that everything before was on a bar marker. So the reason that everything is right on, say, like either the first or the third note of that, just go show all my messages. That was a great job, Johns. Just proves that my wife is not part of my Do Not Disturb. She can message me. All right. So the reason that I don't move things around there is that you want things to be right on the grid when you're doing your first kind of recording process. It's only once everything's recorded in and you get to this point that you can start actually moving things closer to the point that they need to be at. Let's come down to here. Yeah, how good does a phaser sound on that? That was Mars's idea. And you might notice that some of these, they don't sound like cuts, and that's because they are just like artificial cuts. They're just cuts because I cut them between different like choruses and verses and stuff, which is cool. So yeah, if you see something like that that's not actually like a cut that you think would be a cut, then yeah, you're okay. That's why it sounds so slick. Let's just see where that needs to end. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's about natural that we'd want that to continue on through there. So we don't want it to cut out. We want the nice sustained note to go through there. All right, so I think we're getting pretty good here. I've got a question for you, though. With these guitars here, with this section, I don't know whether to cut these earlier, and I'll show you what I mean here. Let's take a listen. So that's how it is at the moment. And yeah, they're not two different takes. Exactly. That's a better way to explain it. As usual, you folks explain something a lot easier than I do. So I'm trying to work out whether this comes out a bar earlier. So whether we have this big, nice break here. Let's just take a listen to it this way around. So I don't know whether that's better. And then you could even like bring the drums out of that section as well. So just completely go to a stop. But because Mars did some cool bass stuff through here. Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. I think I like the way it was originally. Here's where you got to be careful when you're grabbing these things and moving them across. Bump, bump. All right. Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream. I'm quite okay. Don't need no harshes on that headphones. Sometimes I feel so chill it makes me wanna scream. And I know. All right. So let's just see these lead guitars here. This is a case of John's using what he already had there and hoping it sounds okay and not re-recording them, which I possibly could have done. Let's. So they're a little bit harsh coming in there, but they kind of don't matter when you get the rest of it in. So yeah, that's going to be all good there. We'll just come here to the end. So the reason I call this tops and tails a lot is you have to kind of work out what you do at the front and what you do at the end. There's going to be some things in between you need to cut, but usually your tops and tails are the main parts here. So there's Mars's ending, which abruptly brings it to a close. So I'm thinking we can bring everything out to end it around about there. So if we come here, make sure that, in fact, my vocals can come all the way back here because they just do the whoa. The guitars are already gone when we get to there, and that top bass doesn't matter. So let's hear them descending and see if it's nice and clean. I kind of like that. It wasn't the ending that I first thought about, but it's pretty good. Let's grab these little parts here. And again, we can just top and tails them to make sure that there's not. And the reason, again, that we do this is that when there's absolutely nothing playing, like I don't care about the breath sounds. What a lot of people will do is they'll go absolutely nuts with this. So when you're doing like some backing vocals like this. La, 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 la. They'll like trim that bit. They'll come in here and they'll split out. And let me just show you this so you can see why I don't bother and why I think it actually sounds worse. Because if we just like cut these bits out, go back to that one, delete and delete. If we cut those bits out, listen to what it sounds like. La, 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 la. And obviously I did that in a very, harsh way. And you wouldn't normally do it quite that much. But let's just undo this. And as Joel says, if the breaths are worrying you, chuck a noise gate on there. And that way he doesn't have to turn down to nothing and you don't have to do all of that work. You can just use a noise gate that's going to reduce the sound of it a bit. So let's just take the end off there and reckon we're getting pretty good. Exactly. That's the thing. Why would you want to not sound human? Like, I love the breath. I love the breath. I love the little string noises on guitars in between. Otherwise, you might as well just be using MIDI and AI and stuff. Exactly. Humans breathe. I watched a Graham Cochran video, and I like Graham Cochran. He's a good dude, but man, he was editing a vocal within an inch of its life. And I'm like, if you want your vocal to sound like you're a machine, just use one of those AI vocal things. It's fine. I don't cut it either. If it's bad, I fade it down, rolling it in and out as needed. Yeah, and I used to do that as well. Before, because noise gates are good, but they're, they don't do everything exactly. So I used to do this thing where I'd do little valleys. So if breaths were really annoying me, usually back when I was using condenser microphones, because they pick up the breaths a lot more. So I would do exactly that and roll it down. Yeah, what's important is how it sounds in the mix. Exactly, and that's the thing. Don't mix track by track. And I'm the same, Adam. I don't know whether it's my laziness or just the fact that I tend to overdo things and overanalyze and overthink. But yeah, these days I go with less is more, and I try to keep things simple. So I think we're pretty good. We've got some sections through here on the vocals, so let's just chop those out. Where'd we go?
I got a lot to learn.
All right, so we can trim these ones back here. Boop, 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 boop. And we'll split these ones because that one, well, this one we can trim. By the way, if you don't know, here in Logic Pro, when you're in trim mode, this is what the behavior will be. When you tap on those, it will actually trim it like that. If you need to split something, you just hit the little scissor and then go to your track and find the spot you want to pull it and grab it, pull down. And then do the same at the other end. We're still in the scissor mode. So I've got to learn my shortcuts. Like there's very easy shortcuts to go between these modes, but you can tell I haven't been editing in Logic Pro much lately. So we'll bring these in and we'll get those lined up there and we will split it at that same point just so that everything's nice and legal. I mean, nice and even. And at the very end, we can do some final tweaking on this stuff. Did I just delete a bunch of stuff there? Let's just undo. Oh no, that's the whole bit that it's yeah. So we don't need me breathing in those spaces because that's where we've got the instrumental break. So that's why I'm a little more likely to cut out bits like that just aren't needed.
I got a lot to learn.
And then back in down here.
Don't need no crashes on the launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream. I'm quite okay. Don't need no harshes on that head buzz. Sometimes I feel so chill it makes me wanna scream. And I know.
Yeah, so that's going to be all good there. And as you're probably hearing there, I'm experimenting because last time I recorded this cool little spoken wordy version of it.
Don't need no crashes on my launch pad.
I'm just trying to think whether we leave a bit of that in underneath. It's probably got too much of it at the moment, just while I'm sort of playing around. But we'll investigate that more as we go through. So I think in terms of this, we can probably just remove a little bit of the end of that guitar. So this is looking and sounding about like how I want it to be. We've still got some headroom here on our stereo bus, which means that we can master and have a little bit of room for mastering once we get to that phase. And we'll probably be mastering just using the mastering assistant here in Logic Pro because I haven't used it for a while and it's always fun. So let's just have a listen through. We'll go into this second verse just to make sure that our basic static mix is sounding a bit right. So take a listen and let me know if things need to come up or down dramatically.
Questions. I take my own straight. Don't want no answer. I keep my head all in the sand. That's best for me. And I know. I got a lot to learn.
So at the moment, we've got the doubled vocal going here quite a lot. We can also probably remove this bit, can't we?
To learn.
All right, let's just do a little rough split in for these ones. Because I've got a few different takes here. I kind of need to do, I don't want to do a whole bunch of comping. I think I just want to use one track as the main track and then the other track as the comp and only switch them up if I really need to because you'd never seem to find exactly the same energy. So I'm wondering, is it going to be this one, the double or the triple that I liked better?
Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream, no, none for me. Don't need no harshes on my head buzz. Sometimes the things that happen make me wanna scream.
I think this is my strongest take.
And I know I got a lot to learn.
Yeah, I think that's probably my strongest take from memory of doing that. So we're not going to overthink it. We're not going to overdo it. We're just going to go with that. So I'm just going to rename these. So this one is now going to be the double because that was the first take I did. Just going to have to call it double 2 and then rename this one as vocal. lead. So, and we've got this triple in here, this extra vocal that I did that we can use as a...
Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream.
And we could even in the choruses use both the double and the triple. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. So for this first one, let's again, non-destructive editing means we can do this and it'll come back if we need it. So it's still going to be there. So rather than automate, I'm actually going to trim here just so I can get a really clear indication of how this might work. So there's my lead vocal. We'll move this double down below and this triple here. So let's just listen to this.
Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream. No, none for me. Don't need no harshes on my headphones. Sometimes the things that happen make me wanna scream. And I know.
So this is where, except it really just means, and I know, is it the and I need the double?
And I know.
I'm thinking just the no. I'm thinking we don't need the and I. And then these can be like much lower down. And we can, when we get to the mixing, we can mix these so that they don't have exactly the same effects. So it'll sound...
And I know. I got a lot to learn.
So I think that's just a bit nicer, a bit more subtle.
Make me wanna scream, and I know I got a lot to learn.
So what a double and a triple does is it kind of does the same thing as just turning it up, but instead you're adding thickness and you're adding a little bit more sort of power to it. So we'll go with that. Now let's come here into our second verse.
Don't need no people asking questions. I take my own advice, it always sets me straight. Don't want no extra information.
That actually sounds pretty good with the doubles even in the verse for the second. Maybe the second verse has the doubles.
I keep my head all in the sand, that's best for me. And I know I got a lot to learn.
There's one that has a little click there.
To learn.
Which one has the click?
To learn.
It's not that one. So that's the main one.
To learn.
Yeah. A little clunk. My little stool click there. So we'll just pull that back a bit.
A lot to learn.
Yeah, that's going to be better. Mark's got a good idea here with a slight pan left and right. See, this is the thing. I normally use a double, so I can't actually use the panning trick, but that's actually a really good idea, Mark, is that let's pan these. So let's push these left and right. So the easiest way to access those is to go to this little button here. And if we go like 50% left on the double and 50% right on the triple, and let's just get these in balance with each other first to make sure that we got good balance across the two. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, so you can hear the nice separation, bring the middle in.
And I know I got a lot to learn.
It might not even have to go out that wide, but let's listen to the second verse with this.
Don't need no people asking questions. I take my own advice, it always sets me straight. Don't want no extra information.
I think it adds a nice bit of
I
warmth.
keep my head all in the sand, that's best for me. And I know I got a lot to learn.
Yeah, cool. Now, in this one here,
Don't need no crashes on my launch pad.
we definitely don't need the double there. But the problem is, this is an independent take to this one. So we can't do the same thing that we did before. I think, is there a way to like mute out a track here. Can we just kind of... I thought there was a way, because what I would do in GarageBand is I would just make this 0 dB. I'd like reduce the volume right down. We can just use automation. Maybe we'll use a little automation here just so that we don't lose that there. So this is Pete's basic automation, because I usually don't touch automation till the very, very end for reasons that are probably obvious, but if you haven't used much automation before, it's it can cause problems, because once you've got an automated volume, it's kind of impossible to work with it. I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit here. It's impossible to work with the volume and change it. Oh, I can't multitask. I can't talk and do it at the same time. Let's just do that. Didn't really need to do it all that way. In fact, that's going to ruin that. So let's bring that back to there. But you can see here that I'm having to set these at volume levels. And look, Logic Pro automation is better than GarageBand because you can sort of change things at relative levels if you get into sort of more complicated automation stuff. But for now, I'm just going to automate out that, which means it'll not have that middle one there if we play this.
Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream, I'm quite okay. Don't need no harshes on that head buzz. Sometimes I feel so chill it makes me wanna scream. And I know.
All right, so what we're going to need to do is we'll come out of automation mode. So up the top here, we'll tap back onto regular mode. How are we doing on time? 10 minutes, cool. So what I do need to do is have a separate track for this. And this is a beautiful part about your Logic Pro. We'll just duplicate this out, because you don't need to worry about track numbers. You don't need to keep things within 32 tracks like you do in GarageBand. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility. And what I'm actually going to do is trim and move this down to its very own. Whoop, we're still in the wrong one. We're still back to trim. Is move this down. Now this is where you got to be really careful. I tend to zoom right in and tap and hold and drag and go immediately down like that, so that it doesn't get out of time. Because what I want to do, see, I keep trimming things off. Sometimes if you have multiple things selected, you accidentally trim things like I've done here. Thank you, non-destructive editing, for not ruining my life. Okay. All right, let's come to here. So there's my lead vocal. And there's my double. So
don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream, I'm quite okay.
Didn't we automate this down? Or am I making that up? Oh no, I automated the pan. I'm so Mark's one step ahead of me. Because you can automate multiple things in here in Logic Pro, I automated the panning and not that. I'm going to have to go back and fix that, but I'll do that in my own time. That's my own shameful mistake there. Oh man, can't teach me these things, can you? All right, so now it should be better. Oh, I miss you, GarageBand. This Logic Pro stuff is too challenging for my little brain. All right, okay, so let's come back here.
Don't need no crashes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream, I'm quite okay. Don't need no harshes on that head buzz. Sometimes I feel so chill it makes me wanna scream. And I know.
So now we need this to make sure it's coming back up. This double 2 that I've ruined before. The volume should be now coming back up to there. And it's also doing some weird panning automation, which I need to delete out afterwards when I remember how to. There it is. Okay. All right. So I think We're pretty good. My arms are getting sore. Like when you're usually using an iPad, it can be a lot of reaching and you get that kind of gorilla arm. I tell you, more than an hour of doing this is why I limit myself to a 1 hour session. Yeah, more than an hour worth of time. And my shoulder gets sore and I have to take a break. So make sure you take breaks too. Take regular breaks for both your hands and arms and ears as well. Alrighty, I think we're pretty good here. So what do? We save, of course. And guess what? We're up to version 17 of this thing. So let's duplicate 17. Oh, man. Thanks, Adam. Look, I have major imposter syndrome 90% of the time. Like when I make mistakes like that, I think to myself, oh man, like I'm supposed to be teaching people and I'm doing stuff like that. And then I realize that exactly as Joe says here, that you folks learn by me doing it. Because if I knew it all and I was just like, well, of course you just do this, then you're not going to know that. But like Barry's question about the trimming, if I hadn't come across that exact problem, I wouldn't know that, yeah, you can't actually trim, you got to split if it's got like multiple takes in it. And I also wouldn't know that, yeah, sometimes you got to be really careful when you're in automation because if you come from GarageBand, you're only automating volume. But if you're in Logic Pro and it's got a different parameter set, you could be accidentally automating, or I don't know, the panning and mess it up. So it's good. All right. Let us take, before we finish off here, if you do have any final questions, we'll probably go a little overtime here. But if you do have anything that you would like to say or that you'd like to add or contribute, then please go ahead and throw that in the chat here or put a big Q if you've got a question. But I think this is pretty good. What I might do is, get a rough mix out of this. Go for a walk. Go for a listen. There is one part here at the end. We might have fixed it up with all these, but this last, and I know here, it doesn't feel like it comes in with enough power, so it may need to do a little automation here.
Sometimes I feel so chill, it makes me wanna scream. And I know
Like that part there doesn't seem to be quite loud enough when it comes in, so I reckon an automation up there. And I still think that there's an opportunity here. And I know, no. So I might record in a harmonized vocal for the end part there. All right, let's listen to the whole thing, shall I? I'll shut my mic off and let's give it a spin.
don't need no brushes on my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream, no, none for me. Don't need no harshes on my headphones. Sometimes the things that happen make me wanna scream. And I know I got a lot to learn.
There's a little early note there, and I'm wondering if it's anything that I can fix. Let's just have a listen.
To learn.
It's like, diddle-diddle-diddle. I'm pretty sure it's one of these guitars. Yeah, where's that dit coming from? Is it this one? I think it's one of the leads, isn't it? No, it's the rhythm. All right, I'm going to do something I don't normally do, but that's been irritating me. So I reckon I can split it out. I reckon it can come. I think we can just, because it's coming back in there, and I reckon it's just that little bit there. So normally I'd recommend, just automate it down, which we might do in the final mix. But just while I'm listening to this, just so it's not going to give me the irrits, let's just do that. All right, please recommence.
I got a lot to learn. Don't need no people asking questions. I take my own advice, it always sets me straight. Don't want no extra information. I keep my head.
Side note here, but I love this bit where I go up the octave. Again, I don't like to pat myself on the back too hard, But I love this because I was listening to Lenny Kravitz's "Are You Gonna Wait," where it's and then it goes up the octave. So this little bit here with these guitars, it makes me happy every time I hear it. Can you hear the Lenny Kravitz influence in that? Yeah. See, actually, I'm not mastering this here. I'm mastering it in Logic Pro for Mac using the T-Rax mastering console. And what you can do with that is bring in tracks as your source material, and then it can use them as reference tracks for your master. So maybe I chuck "Are You Gonna Go My Way" in, and we try see what happens if I master it based on that, because that's the sound I originally wanted. Anyway, I promise I'll just keep playing.
In the sound that's best for me, and I know I got a lot to learn. Don't need no crashes on the launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream, I'm quite okay. Don't need no harshes on that head buzz. Sometimes I feel so chill it makes me wanna scream. And I know and I know and I know and I know
Oh yeah, rock and frickin' roll, am I right? Yeah, I like where we're at with this at the moment. The main reason being, and again, I'm trying to be as honest as I possibly can. I have not been feeling confident about this year's song. Let's come over here. Let's come over here and have a little chat. Uh, it's been a rough sort of 12-month period for me, for a lot of different reasons. Personally, I've had some challenges. Work-wise, I've had some challenges. So yeah, I was coming up to this month going, I don't feel confident, and I think the taking what I'm going to take out of this is that just keep going. Just push through. And it didn't matter what this ended up sounding like. It changed up. I simplified it as I went along. I removed the stress from myself. I let go. And guess what? It came out a lot better than I thought. Nothing is ever as bad or as good as you think it is. Everything's, I know, it sounds a bit demoralizing. Everything's kind of just average. But you know what I mean. Nothing is as bad or as absolutely like horrendous as you think it's going to be, which means that you should just keep going and just do it. Just get it done. So we're going to get there. We're going to get there. So we'll do it. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Skeeter, Melody. Thank you, Leela. Yeah, like again, these songs are like a time capsule too. So the reason I like doing Songtember is that I'll look back on this year and I'll remember the challenges and I'll remember how I was feeling, and then every time I hear this song, it'll kind of make me feel grateful that I got through all of that shit. Had some resilience. Everything is average, which is average. Absolutely. Good stuff. I don't think we had any other questions, but if you do and you're watching on the replay, feel free to jump down into the comments section below. That's it as far as the live shows go that are planned. I will be doing some mixing, so that'll probably be in the form of a studio hours where I just jump in, and I'll probably do that for Patreon and member folks. So if you are a patron, or a member, keep an eye on your notifications and your emails and whatnots, and I'll probably just jump in randomly for a couple of hours to do the mixing in a little more, a less pressure situation where it's not a 1 hour show and I'm not sort of racing to get stuff done. If you would like to, you can indeed do that. You can support the channel by doing that. And yes, hopefully, if you have that in your head, then hopefully I've done my job. You had a question posted earlier. Let me go back up because you also donated. So I'm gonna. I have an issue. I don't know where to go from playing acoustically, where the guitar is filling in for everything and migrating that to full band arrangement. Let's ponder on this a moment. We're already over time. Let's help Adam out here. So I have an issue. I don't know how to go from playing acoustically, where the guitar is filling for everything, and migrating that to a full band arrangement where the guitar doesn't have to do as much. This is a good question, and I'll demonstrate this by getting my guitar. We're going off script here now, folks. So I have the same problem. And this track, when it first started, I don't have this plugged in, but it was doing like a... So it was doing that kind of business. So what I've found, and what I did with this song, is that I found that I was playing like these full chords, but when I went to the full band, going to a 2-note power chord. So that's what the transition between those full chords that I was playing on the guitar to this song is that I brought in lead guitar. So I'm not a great lead guitar player, right? So I brought in this one. Let me just bring this back up over here, back to my iPad. So... And then it freed me up to add some lead parts. So I just worked out what note would go with that chord nicely for one lead part. So what that one's doing is, like, you know how I was playing the... So, because when you've got like an acoustic, you're kind of doing sort of triple duty. You're playing chords, but you're also like adding the little lead notes, but you're also probably doing a more intricate strumming pattern to... So simplifying that down to basically just like... And then being able to free up another guitar to do the rhythm, but also lead part doing the... So you've got like layers, and it is hard because when you're an acoustic player, you tend to just need to play everything yourself. And then it was about finding another thing to go with it, which was this one. So the way I kind of approach it is that, again, when you're playing acoustic, you're doing three things. You're doing the chords. You're doing those little beep, 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 beep. You're doing kind of the top lead part, and then you're also creating the rhythm. So if mentally, when you're approaching this to put a full band or like a wall of guitars sound together, what I find helps is to go simplify down your rhythm part to start with. And then if you're using two guitars left and right, use one to kind of do more of the rhythm stuff to complement that. And use a second one to get more of the melody. So you're kind of doing the same thing as you were doing on acoustic, but you're actually splitting it out into three parts. And then you can have three different tones, and that's sort of where it goes. That won't work for everyone, but that's helped me, because I'm in the exact same boat, Adam, where I write stuff on an acoustic guitar, I then bring it into the full band, and then it doesn't work because I try to do too much on each guitar, and then it just becomes this overblown sound just simplify it. Go down. If you're playing 3 strings, play 2 strings. If you're playing 2 strings, play 1 string. And then just separate out those parts, and I reckon you're good. That was it. Cool. Excellent. So yeah, hopefully that helps you out. But yeah, look, it's a tough one to do, and I tend to find some songs just aren't right for that. So some songs will guide you there, like this one did. Other songs will just say to you, this should just be an acoustic doubled, and then just like played out. Like some songs kind of belong acoustic, but there you go. Yeah, too busy. Exactly. There's too much going on. Trust me, remove a string. Just pretend you don't have a top E string or a bottom E string or something, and yeah, that should help you out. Thank you everyone for being here. We are going to finish up now, and yeah, super thank you to Adam for your kind donation on the show here. Yeah, please be kind to yourselves this week, folks. Good luck with the rest of your Songtember. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Keep creating, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Live today. Bye for now.